The grand hall of the Galactic Imperial Council shone with bright lights. Tall glass windows showed the stars outside. 500 alien leaders sat in curved rows. They all looked different. Some had scales, others had 4 arms, and many had skin and colors humans had never seen before. Ambassador Sun stood tall as the only human in the front row. He wore Earth's blue diplomatic uniform with a small pin showing Earth's flag. Next to him sat 3 human women in white lab coats. Dr. Me and Dr. J, they were Earth's top scientists, here to share human medical discoveries. Council welcomes Earth's representatives, said High Chancellor Rock. His purple skin glowed under the lights. We continue our peace talks on day 7. Zahn nodded and stood to speak. The people of Earth thank the Empire for this chance to join the galactic community. Our scientists have prepared a loud alarm, cut 'em off. 20 Imperial guards marched into the hall. Their armor clicked against the marble floor. What is happening? Sun asked, looking around in confusion. Chancellor Rock's voice boomed through the hall. Earth delegation, stay where you are. The guards surrounded the 3 women scientists. Dr. Yoon stepped forward. What is this about? Silence. The guard captain grabbed her arm. Dr. Yoon, Dr. Mihan, and Dr. J. Kim Yu are under arrest for espionage against the Galactic Empire. Sun pushed through the guards. This is impossible. These women are scientists, not spies. I demand to see proof. Chancellor Rock looked down from his high seat. We have all the proof we need, Ambassador. Your scientists used their medical equipment to scan our defense systems. That's not true, Dr. Me said firmly. Our equipment only collects medical data. Check it yourselves. The guards didn't listen. They put metal cuffs on the women's wrists. Sun grabbed the arm of a nearby Empire official. This violates our diplomatic agreement. I must contact Earth immediately. The official pushed Sun's hand. Away. You may observe the trial, but not participate. Trial? When? Now, said Chancellor Rock. The trial lasted only 20 minutes. No evidence was shown. The women were not allowed to speak. 3 judges, all from races loyal to the Empire, announced the verdict. Guilty of highest treason. Punishment is death, to be carried out immediately. Sun's face went pale. No, this violates all galactic laws. I demand to speak with the Emperor. Guards held him back as the women were taken away. Sun managed to reach his communication device and sent an emergency signal to Earth. Emergency code red. Our scientists are being sentenced to death without evidence. Request immediate intervention. The return message came quickly. Hold position. We're sending diplomatic demands to the Empire now. In a plain gray room with 1 window, the 3 women stood against a wall. Guards aimed weapons at them. Dr. Yoon, the oldest, stood with her head high. We die as Earth's representatives, show no fear. Dr. Me nodded. My brother will not let this stand. Dr. J, the youngest, tried to keep her voice steady. I only wish we could have seen the stars again. Outside the window, Sun and other diplomats from smaller worlds watched. Some looked away, others seemed pleased. The guard captain raised his hand. Execution will be broadcast across all Imperial systems as a lesson. Cameras floated in the air, recording everything. Sun pressed against the window. This will mean war. The Empire doesn't understand. Humans. The captain ignored him and gave the order. 3 beams of light struck the women. Their bodies fell to the floor. It was done on Earth. In the Central Military Command Center in Seoul, General Q-Han watched the broadcast. His face showed no emotion, but his hands gripped the edge of the desk so hard his knuckles turned. White Colonel Day stood beside him. Sir, your orders. General Han looked at his second-in-command. Contact the World Council. Emergency session. Now. While waiting, Han opened his personal tablet. He tapped on a photo himself with his younger sister. Dr. Mihan smiled in the picture. Her graduation day from the Global Science Academy. You did nothing wrong, Mi, he whispered. They will pay for this. 2 hours later, the World Council. Chamber was filled with 50 leaders. The room was silent as they watched the execution recording again. President Lee stood. The Empire has rejected all our demands for explanation. They claimed the execution was justified. Defense Minister Park added, "Our sources in the Empire have sent us something important. These documents show the Empire planned this from the start." On the big screen, secret Imperial orders appeared. They showed a plan to accuse the human scientists of spying, no matter what they did. "This was a trap," said General Han, now standing before the council. "They wanted to show the galaxy that humans are weak, that we will accept anything to keep peace." "Why?" asked someone. "Because they fear us," Han said. "Earth joined the galactic community only 2 years ago. Already. Our ships are faster. Our trade is growing, and many alien worlds want to work with us instead of the Empire." Minister Park nodded. "Our intelligence shows the Empire plans to limit Earth's growth. This execution was step 1 to humiliate us and make other worlds afraid. To work with humans?" President Lee looked at each council member. "We must decide. Do we accept this to maintain peace, or do we respond?" An older woman stood up. "My name is Jin. I was Dr. Yoon's mother. My daughter went to share medical knowledge that could help billions of lives across the galaxy. She believed in peace." The woman's voice remained steady. "But I know my daughter. She would not want her death to make Earth bow down to killers." One by one, the council members voted. The result was clear. Earth would not accept this. General Han was called forward again. President Lee handed him a document. "General Han, you will lead Earth's response. This is our formal declaration of war against the Galactic Empire." Han looked at the document. His face remained calm, but his eyes burned with determination. "The Empire thinks they know humans," he said. "They think we are weak because we seek peace. They're wrong." He picked up a pen and signed the declaration. Then he touched the small photo of his sister in his pocket. "The Empire believes they have shown the galaxy how to deal with humans," Han said. "We will show them how humans deal with those who harm our people." Outside the council chamber, ships were already being prepared. Weapons were loaded. Soldiers trained. Earth would not strike in anger or seek blind revenge. Earth would plan. Earth would prepare. And when ready, Earth would show the galaxy why. The Empire had been right to fear humans all along in his private quarters that night. General Han looked at his sister's photo one last time before putting it away. He had work to do. The war that would change the galaxy forever had just begun. 6 months passed after the execution. The stars still shone, planets still moved in their orbits, and the Galactic Empire still ruled most of known space. To alien eyes watching Earth, nothing seemed to happen. Human ships stayed in their own solar system. Human messages became less frequent. Trade slowed down. Some Imperial officials laughed about it in their private meetings. "The humans hide like scared animals," said Minister Drock at a gathering of Empire leaders. His skin changed from blue to green as he laughed. "They bark loudly about war, then do nothing. Perhaps we should execute more of them to remind them of their place." The other officials joined his laughter. All except one, a thin, gray-skinned advisor who leaned toward the Emperor. "Your Greatness, should we not watch Earth more carefully? Humans are unpredictable." Emperor Zol waved a 3-fingered hand. "Waste no more resources on Earth. They are weak. If they were going to fight, they would have done so already." The Emperor was wrong, deep under the surface of Earth's moon. Commander Bay stood in a massive new room carved from rock. Thousands of workers moved around her, building ships unlike any humans had made before. "How many are ready?" she asked. The man beside her, Chief Engineer Su, checked his tablet. 30 attack ships complete. 50 more will be done next week." Bay nodded. "The Empire thinks we've given up. They've stopped watching our moon base." "Good," said Su. "They won't see us coming." He walked past workers welding metal parts. The room stretched for miles, hidden from Empire eyes. Similar bases had been built under Mars, inside asteroids, and beneath Earth's oceans. Su pointed to a new weapon being installed on a ship. "We found that Imperial shields can't stop particles of this Earth's metal. It passes right through their protection." "So will it work?" asked Bay. "It already has," Su said with a small smile. "Tested it on an Empire patrol ship last month. They thought it was a meteor accident." Bay stopped walking. You attacked an Empire ship without orders? Not attacked. Tested. We needed to know. Our weapons work. The ship was in empty space, far from others. Bay frowned, but kept walking. War made people do things they normally wouldn't. In another part of the moon base, Officer Jin sat in a dark room with screens showing different alien worlds. 20 men and women worked at stations around her. Port, she said. A young man looked up from his screen. The network is growing. We have helpers on 42 planets now. Jin nodded. These helpers were aliens who didn't like the Empire. Some were from races that had been hurt by Empire rule. Others simply believed the execution of the human women was wrong. And our people? Asked Jin. All teams are in position, said the young man. They're waiting for the order. Jin thought about those teams, small groups of Earth's best soldiers, secretly placed on planets throughout the Empire. They had been sent months ago, disguised as traders or workers. They were waiting for the signal to attack. The Empire still doesn't suspect anything? No, said the man. Their ambassador gave a speech yesterday, mocking Earth for being afraid. To fight? Jin smiled slightly. Good. Let them think that. On the main Empire world, a grand meeting hall was filled with representatives from 100 planets. Ambassador Toka the Empire stood at the center. Once again, Earth has failed to send representatives, he said, pointing to an empty seat. They talk of war but hide in their system. Perhaps humans are good only for talk. Many laughed. Others looked uncomfortable. In a corner of the room, a cleaner wiped the floor. No one paid attention to him. No one noticed that his hands were shaped wrong for his supposed species, or that his eyes watched everything too carefully. The cleaner was. Really, Colonel Tay of Earth, leader of Strike Team 9? As Toke spoke, Tay pressed a small button in his pocket. A signal went out not to Earth, but to the 37 other humans hidden throughout the Empire's capital city. The message was simple. 2 more days. Back on Earth. General Han stood before the World Council again.
Ow.
The room looked different. Now military maps covered the walls. Officers replaced some of the civilian leaders. Are we ready? Asked President Lee. Han nodded. All teams are in position. Our fleet is prepared. The new weapons have been tested, and the Empire suspects nothing. Nothing, said Han. They believe our silence means fear. Minister Park, who now wore a military uniform, stood up. We've been lucky. The Empire's pride blinded them. Could have attacked us during these months of preparation. Not luck, said Han. The Empire has ruled too long without real challenge. They've forgotten what it means to face an enemy who thinks differently. They've forgotten what it means to fear. President Lee looked at each person in the room. Tomorrow we remind them. That night, as darkness covered half of Earth, General Han stood alone on a balcony looking at the stars. In his hand was the photo of his sister Mi. It begins tomorrow, he said to the picture. Not just for you, for all of us. A door opened behind him. Colonel Day stepped onto the balcony. Sir, you should rest. Tomorrow will be long. I nodded, but didn't move. Do you think we're doing the right thing, Day? We're about to kill many beings who had nothing to do with my sister's death. Day stood beside him. We've planned carefully. Our first targets are military only. And remember what we learned: the Empire was planning to attack Earth anyway. The execution was just the first step. I know, said Han. Still, I wonder if there was another way. They gave us no choice, said Day. They thought humans would. Either accept their cruelty or fight stupidly and be destroyed. Han put the photo away. Then let's show them what humans really do when threatened. On the secret base inside an asteroid near Jupiter, Commander Bay walked along a line of attack ships. Pilots stood at attention beside each one. Tomorrow. You strike first, she told them. Hit your targets, then return immediately. No heroics, no revenge actions. Follow the plan exactly. The pilots nodded. Bay continued walking until she reached the end of the line. The Empire thinks they understand. Humans, she said. They think they know what we can do. They are wrong. She looked at her watch. 20 hours until attack. Rest now. Tomorrow, we show the galaxy what happens when you harm Earth's people. As she walked away, the pilots went to their ships for final checks. No one spoke loudly. No one bragged or boasted. They worked quietly, carefully. The Empire had expected a loud, emotional response from humans. They got silence instead, but it was not the silence of fear. It was the silence of hunters preparing to strike. The Imperial military base on planet Daron was quiet. Guards walked their usual paths. Ships sat ready, but unused. In the control tower, 3 officers played a card game. Bored with their night shift, none of them noticed the small objects falling from the sky. "Did you hear something?" asked one guard, looking up from his post. Before his partner could answer, the world turned bright white. Then darkness. At exactly the same moment, 20 more Imperial bases on 20 different planets experienced the same attack. No warnings, no alarms. It's just sudden, perfect strikes that left smoking ruins were proud. Imperial fortresses had stood minutes before. The war had begun. Admiral Haon stood on the bridge of the Earth ship. Justice. Behind her, 50 warships moved in perfect formation. Ahead floated a massive metal ring in space, the Kellner Jump Gate, one of the Empire's most important transportation points. "Are all ships in position?" she asked. "Yes," Admiral replied. "Captain Juan. Teams Alpha through Delta are ready. The gate's defenders don't suspect anything yet." Who nodded. Gin. Smaller ships shot forward, moving faster than Imperial vessels could track. They fired strange weapons that didn't damage. The Imperial ships but made their systems stop working. "Their shields are down," reported Juan. "Their weapons aren't firing." "Good," said Hayan. "Now take the gate. Minimal casualties." Earth Marines boarded the Imperial ships and the gate control station. The fighting was short. Most Imperial soldiers surrendered when they realized their weapons wouldn't work against the Earth suits. 1 hour later, Admiral Hayan walked through the control room of the jump gate. Imperial officers stood with their hands up, looking shocked. "This gate now belongs to Earth," she told them. "You will be treated fairly as prisoners." An Imperial commander glared at her. "You cannot hold this gate. The Empire will send 100 ships to take it back." Hayan smiled slightly. "They can try. But they'll need to get past the other 7 gates we've captured in the last hour." The commander's face showed his shock. "Impossible. No one can take 8 gates at once." "Humans just did," said Hayan. On the Imperial capital world, a woman named Na fixed her alien disguise in a mirror. The skin-colored patches on her face hid her human features. Special lenses made her eyes look bigger and purple. Her hands wore gloves with extra fingers. She looked like a perfect Drell, a species known for their loyalty to the Empire. For 6 months, she had worked as a server in the Imperial Palace, listening, watching, and slowly gaining trust. Today was important. The Emperor was calling an emergency meeting about the attacks. Na would be there, pouring drinks, hearing everything. "You, server," called a guard. "The meeting room needs preparation." Na lowered her head respectfully. "Yes, sir. Right away." In the grand meeting room, she placed drinking glasses on the table and planted tiny listening devices under the chairs. No one watched servers. No one thought they mattered. That was the Empire's mistake. 2 hours later, the room filled with the highest Imperial leaders. Na served them drinks and food, moving quietly around the room. "This is an outrage," shouted War Minister Kren. "Humans have attacked 23 bases and taken 8 jump gates. How did they do this?" Emperor Zol slammed his 3-fingered hand on the table. "I want answers. Where did they get such weapons? How did they attack everywhere at once?" They argued. Na memorized their plans. The Empire would send fleets to retake the jump gates. It would attack Earth's moon base. They thought they knew where humans were weak. They were wrong. General Bach of the Imperial fleet stood proudly on his command ship. Around him, 30 massive warships prepared to attack the Kellner jump gate. The humans have only 12 ships. Defending it, he told his officers, "This will be easy." His fleet moved forward, weapons ready. But when they got close, strange things began to happen. First, their targeting systems showed hundreds of human ships instead of 12. Then their engines started to slow down. Some ships turned the wrong direction. "What is happening?" shouted Bach. "Sir, the humans are using some kind of Confusion technology, said an officer. Our systems don't work right. Before they could fix the problems, the real attack came. Human ships appeared from behind a moon and fired weapons the Empire had never seen before. The weapons didn't explode. They sent beams that went right through Imperial shields. Impossible, yelled Bach. As his ship shook, nothing goes through our shields. But the human weapons did. In 20 minutes, the proud Imperial fleet was defeated. Not destroyed, disabled, the ships floated helplessly in space. When humans boarded Bach's command ship, he expected to be killed. Instead, they took him and his crew prisoner. Why don't you just kill us? He asked the human captain. 'Cause we're not like you, was the answer. On planet Tevis, Colonel Tay led his strike team through the Imperial prison complex. They moved silently, using weapons that put guards to sleep instead of killing them. Cell Block D ahead, whispered Sergeant Joe. That's where they keep the Marloth prisoners. Tay nodded. The Marloth were bird-like aliens who had fought against Empire rule. Many had been in prison for years. When they reached the cells, Tay spoke into a translator. We are humans. We're here to free you. The Marloth looked afraid at first, then hopeful. Why would humans help us? Asked one. Because the Empire's our enemy too, said Tay. We're freeing everyone they've hurt. As they led the Marloth out, alarms finally sounded. Imperial troops rushed toward them. But instead of running, some Marloth picked up dropped weapons. We will fight with you, their leader told Tay. The same thing was happening on 12 other planets. Humans freed prisoners, and many chose to join them against the Empire. Back on the Imperial capital, Emperor Zol raged at his military leaders. How is this possible? They're just humans. One small planet against our mighty Empire. Admiral Drez, the oldest military leader, looked troubled. Your Greatness, I think we made a terrible mistake. What mistake? We judged humans by their peaceful representatives, he thought. When they talked of cooperation, it meant weakness. Drez pulled up images of the attacks. But look how they fight. Perfect planning. New technology. Smart tactics. They strike exactly where we're weak. They're not alone anymore, added another leader. Reports say they've freed prisoners on many planets. These freed aliens are joining them. Emperor Zol stared at the reports in disbelief. How could this happen? They executed 3 humans to show our power. No, Your Greatness, said Drez quietly. We executed 3 human women to show our power. In return, they are showing us theirs. In orbit above planet Renas, Admiral Hayen received reports from all fronts. All initial targets secured. Minimal casualties on both sides. Prison liberations successful. She sent the news to Earth, where General Han read it with satisfaction. The first phase is complete, he told the World Council. The Empire is off balance. They don't understand what's happening. In our next move? Asked President Lee. Han showed a map of the galaxy. Human forces were now positioned at key points throughout Imperial space. Now we push toward the center, he said. The Empire still thinks this is about revenge for my sister and the other scientists. They don't realize yet. Realize what? Asked a council member. We're not just fighting for 3 women, said Han. We're fighting to end the Empire forever. Emperor Zol stood in the Imperial war room, his purple face dark with anger. Maps showed human forces pushing deeper into Empire space. More than 50 planets had fallen in just 3 weeks. Enough, he shouted, slamming all 3 of his fists. On the table, prepare the void weapons. The room went silent. Even the most loyal commanders looked shocked. But Your Greatness, said Admiral Drez carefully, the void weapons are forbidden by galactic law. Even the Empire agreed never to use them. I don't care about laws. Zol's voice echoed off the walls. Humans break all rules of war. They turn our own people against us. They must be stopped. No one argued further. The void weapons were planet killers, designed to make suns explode. The Empire had built them in secret, promising they would never be used. Now they would be. Captain Yoon of Earth Intelligence stood in a small room on planet Corvus. 5 other humans and 12 aliens from different species waited for her to speak. "We have bad news," she said. "Our spy in the Imperial Palace reports that Emperor Zol has ordered the use of void weapons." A tall, blue-skinned alien named Rel shook his head. "If those weapons are used, millions will die, not just humans, but anyone near the target systems." "Weapons are stored at the Morax facility," said Yoon, showing a map. "Heavily guarded, deep underground. The Empire thinks it's impossible to reach." "So what do we do?" asked Lieutenant Park. Yoon smiled slightly. "We do the impossible." She explained the plan. It was dangerous. Many of them might not return, but if they failed, entire planets would die. "We leave in 1 hour," Yoon said. "Any questions?" There were none. Humans and aliens worked together, checking weapons and equipment. Rel approached Yoon privately. "Why do you humans fight this way?" he asked. "The Empire killed 3 of your people, but you could have just killed 3 of theirs for balance. Instead, you tear down their whole empire." "Because it wasn't just about those 3 women," Yoon replied. "The Empire showed us what they truly are. If we let them stay in power, they'll eventually destroy Earth. We're fighting for our future." Rel nodded slowly. "That's why many of us join you. We fight for our futures too." Above the planet Morax, a massive space battle raged. Imperial ships protected the world where their ultimate weapons waited. Earth ships, joined by vessels from newly freed planets, attacked in waves. On the bridge of her ship, Swift Justice, Captain Yoon watched the battle. "Status report," she ordered. "Enemy fleet is focused on our main attack," reported Officer Kim. "They don't know about our real mission yet." Yoon nodded. The battle above was just a distraction. While Imperial forces fought there, a small team would slip through to the planet's surface. "Team 2 is ready," said Kim. "Send them in," ordered Yoon. A small, dark ship separated from the Swift Justice. It didn't head toward the battle but went around it, using the chaos as cover. On board were 10 Special Forces soldiers, 6 humans. And for aliens, Yoon watched them go, then returned her attention to the main battle. Her ship shook as Imperial weapons hit their shields. "Keep their attention on us," she told her crew. "Give Team 2 the time they need." The battle grew more intense. Imperial ships fought desperately. They knew what was at stake. 3 hours. Later, as Yoon's ship took heavy damage, a message came through. "Team 2 to Swift Justice. Mission complete. Void weapons neutralized. Facility destroyed." Cheers erupted on the bridge. Yoon allowed herself a small smile before giving new orders. "Ships, begin withdrawal. We've accomplished our goal." As Earth ships pulled back, the Imperial commanders were confused. Why retreat? When the battle wasn't over? Only later would they learn the terrible truth: their ultimate weapons were gone. On Earth. In a research facility deep underground, Dr. Sung worked with a team of scientists. Months they had studied samples of Imperial biology, looking for weaknesses. General Han visited the lab, walking among tables filled with equipment. "Do you have something for me, Doctor?" he asked Sung. A short man with tired eyes looked up from his work. "Yes, General. We found it." He showed Han a screen with complex images.
"Oh, high-ranking Imperials share a genetic modification."
"It makes them stronger and longer-lived. But it has a weakness. Kind of weakness. We can create a compound that temporarily disables their nervous systems," explained Sung. "Not lethal. Just puts them to sleep for about 12 hours. Most importantly, it only affects those with the Imperial genetic modification. Other species won't be harmed." Han looked closely at the data. "Can it be delivered through air systems?" "Yes. We've already produced enough for the Imperial capital." Han nodded, satisfied. "This is perfect."
"We can take their leadership without killing them."
"May I ask a question, General?" said Sung. "Of course I've noticed our strategy avoids killing, when possible. We disable ships instead of destroying them. We take prisoners. Now this non-lethal weapon. Why? After what they did to our people." Han was quiet for a moment. "The Empire executed those women to show the galaxy that humans are savages who need to be controlled. If we kill without need, we prove them right. But if we show mercy when we have power, we prove them wrong. In a secret room on the imperial capital, Grand Minister Sun, the emperor's chief advisor, met with a human representative. No one knew about this meeting. If discovered, Sun would be executed for treason. The emperor still refuses to surrender. Sun said quietly, he believes the imperial forces can still win. The human, a diplomat named Ju, shook his head. That's not possible. Earth's coalition now includes 37 former imperial worlds. More join us every day. I know, said Sun. Many of us in the imperial court see the truth. The empire is falling, but the emperor won't listen. Then help us end this with minimal bloodshed, said Ju. We don't want to destroy your capital. We don't want more deaths. Sun looked nervous but determined. What do you need from me? Access codes to the capital's defense systems, and a way to reach the emperor directly. Sun hesitated only briefly, before handing over a data chip. Here, this contains everything you need. Why are you helping us? Asked Ju. Because I watched those 3 human women die, Sun replied. I saw the mistake we made that day. Now I want to help fix it. 1 week later, Earth forces surrounded the Imperial throne world. Thousands of ships formed a ring around the planet. On the ground, Imperial citizens watched the sky with fear. Inside the Imperial palace, Emperor Zoal raged at his commanders. Fight them. Push them back. We can't, Your Greatness, said Admiral Drez. Our main fleets are defeated. Most of our worlds have joined the humans. Traitors. All of them. As the Emperor shouted, a strange mist began to fill the room through the air system. Guards noticed too late. One by one, the Imperial leaders fell asleep where they stood. The Emperor fought against it longest, staggering toward a communication panel before collapsing. Throughout the capital, all high-ranking Imperials fell into a peaceful sleep. When they woke, their world would be different. Outside the palace, citizens were surprised to see alien ships landing not to attack, but bringing food and medical supplies. Human soldiers and their alien allies walked the streets, not as conquerors, but as liberators. The war was nearly over. The Empire was, falling not with a final great battle, but with a quiet change of power. The Imperial Palace looked different now. Earth soldiers and their alien allies guarded its golden doors. The Imperial flags had been taken down. In their place hung the blue banner of Earth alongside flags from 30 other worlds. Inside the Grand Hall, Emperor Zol sat in chains. No longer wearing his royal clothes, he looked smaller, older. Around him sat 20 high-ranking Imperial officials, also in chains. They waited for their trial to begin. The doors opened. Judge He walked in, wearing the black robes of Earth's global court. Behind her came representatives from 50 planets, some who had fought with Earth, others who had been neutral in the war. This galactic tribunal is now in session, announced Judge He. Her voice was calm but firm. Emperor Zol and Imperial leaders are charged with crimes against multiple worlds, including the illegal execution of Earth scientists Dr. Yoon Yu, Dr. Mi-Han, and Dr. J. Kim. The Emperor glared at her. I don't recognize this court's authority. The Empire rules the galaxy. The Empire no longer exists as a ruling power, Judge, he replied simply. This court represents the new Galactic Federation. For 3 days, the trial continued. Evidence was shown. Witnesses spoke. Former Imperial officers admitted the truth. The execution of the human women had been planned from the start, a trap to either break Earth's spirit or provoke a foolish war. We believed humans would either submit or attack in blind rage, admitted former Admiral Drez. Either way, the Empire would have reason to destroy Earth completely. Why? Asked Judge He. 'Cause our studies showed humans advance too quickly. In 50 years, Earth would have been stronger than the Empire. We couldn't allow that. On the final day, former Grand Minister Sun testified. The Emperor personally ordered the executions. He wanted to make an example of humans. Emperor Zol shouted angrily. They were just 3 humans, insignificant creatures. How could their deaths cause all this? The room went silent. Then General Han stood up from his seat among the Earth officials. "You still don't understand," he said quietly. "It was never just about those 3 women. It was about what their deaths showed us." "Showed you what?" sneered Zol. "The Empire would never treat humans as equals. And no matter how peaceful we were, you would eventually try to destroy us." Han's voice remained calm. "It gave us no choice but to remove you from power." After all testimony finished, Judge, he announced the verdict. Emperor Zol and 16 officials are found guilty of all charges. The remaining 4 are found not guilty due to their secret work helping end the war. The punishment was not death. Earth had fought too hard to prove it was different from the Empire to use execution now. "The guilty will be imprisoned for life on planet Dravis," said Judge. They will have basic comforts but no freedom and no contact with the outside world. As guards led the former emperor away, he looked back at General Han. "You should have killed me. One day the Empire will rise again." Han shook his head. "No, your empire is gone forever, but your people will have a better life without you." 1 month later, President G of Earth stood before the first meeting of the Galactic Federation Council. Representatives from 200 worlds filled the great hall. Former imperial planets, independent worlds, and even planets discovered during the war. "Today marks a new beginning," said President G. "Not an empire ruled by fear, but a federation built on equality and cooperation." She explained the new system. Each world would have 1 vote in the council. No single planet or species would rule over others. A rotating leadership would prevent any one group from gaining too much power. "Earth does not seek to replace the Empire as rulers," G continued. "We fought not to conquer, but to free. The weapons we created for war are now being converted to tools for peace." In the audience, Admiral Heian sat next to a tall, blue-skinned alien. Once enemies, they now work together to create a new galactic defense force. "Do you think it will last?" asked the alien. "Peace is harder than war," Heian nodded. "Yes, it is. But humans are stubborn. When we decide to do something, whether fighting a war or building peace, we don't give up easily." On a small green hill outside the new Federation headquarters, workers finished building a memorial. 3 stone statues stood in a circle: Dr. Yoon, Dr. Mi, and Dr. J. The women whose deaths had changed the galaxy. Around the statues, a garden grew with plants from 50 different worlds. A path led visitors through the garden to the center, where a simple plaque read, "Their deaths taught us the price of tyranny. Their memory teaches us the value of justice." General Han walked slowly along this path, alone in the early morning light. He carried 3 flowers, 1 for each statue. At his sister's statue, he paused longest. "It's done, Mi," he said quietly. "The war is over. A new galaxy is beginning." He placed the flowers at the base of each statue, then sat on a bench nearby. The rising sun made the statues glow with golden light. Captain Yoon found him there an hour later. She sat beside him without speaking at first. "The last Imperial holdouts surrendered yesterday," she finally said. "All former Empire worlds are now part of the Federation, or independent by choice." Han nodded. "Good. The Federation Council wants you to lead the new Combined Defense Forces," Yoon continued. "They say no one else has earned the trust of so many different worlds." Han looked at the statues. "I didn't fight this war to gain power. We know. That's why they want you." Han was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, "Do you think they would be proud, the 3 of them?" Yoon followed his gaze to the statues. "I think they would be amazed. They went to the Empire to share medical knowledge. They hoped to help a few billion lives. Instead, they changed the fate of the entire galaxy." "Not they," said Han. "Their deaths." "No," Yoon shook her head. "Their lives. The Empire saw them as just 3 humans they could kill to make a point. But they were wrong. Each life matters. That's what humans believe. That's why we fought." Han stood up, his decision made. "I'll accept the Federation position. But not forever, just until things are stable." As they walked away from the memorial, Han looked back once more at his sister's statue. The Empire had executed 3 human women to show their power. They never understood what they were really doing. It never understood humans. When you harm one human, you face all of humanity. When you kill without justice, humans will bring justice to you. Not for revenge, but because humans believe in something the Empire never understood, that every life has value, and a society that forgets this deserves to fall. The new Federation would remember this lesson, and throughout the galaxy, the story would be told of 3 human women, of Earth's response, and of how an empire fell and a better galaxy rose from its ashes.